Ryan's world shattered in a single email. The subject, line screaming. Termination notice, effective immediately. 10 years of late nights. Client wins. And climbing the corporate ladder at Pinnacle Advertising. Gone to cold. Corporate blink. The reason, buried in HR jargon, was unmistakable: his love for Ethan, caught in a candid photo at a company gala, had been deemed unprofessional conduct. San Francisco's skyline glittered through the glass walls of Ryan's corner office as he sat frozen, the email's words burning into his retina. At 29, he'd built a life here, sacrificed weekends, friendships, even his health, to prove he belonged. Now, the company he'd bled for had discarded him like a misprinted flyer, all because of who he loved. He closed his laptop, his hands trembling, and glanced at the framed photo on his desk. Him and Ethan, laughing at a pride parade last summer, their faces painted with rainbow streaks. Ethan's blonde hair caught the sunlight, his green eyes sparkling with a joy that had pulled Ryan out of his workaholic shell. That photo, once a quiet rebellion against the office's unspoken "don't ask, don't tell" vibe, now felt like a liability. Ryan's phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Dinner at 7? Got a surprise for you." Ryan's chest tightened. How could he tell Ethan he'd lost everything? His job, his stability, the life they dreamed of building together? He typed back a quick "sure. Love you." But the words felt hollow, weighted by the shame of failure. The office was eerily quiet as Ryan packed his belongings into a cardboard box. Colleagues avoided his gaze, their whispers trailing him like shadows. Only Mia, the receptionist, lingered by his desk, her warm brown eyes filled with something like sorrow. "Ryan," she said softly, pressing a small, ribbon-wrapped gift box into his hands. "Open this later. It's something to hold on to." Her voice cracked, and she turned away before he could respond. He tucked the box into his jacket, too numb to question it, and stepped into the elevator. The descent felt like a free fall, not just from the 15th floor, but from the life he'd known. Outside, the San Francisco air was crisp, the fog rolling in from the bay. Ryan walked aimlessly, the weight of the gift box in his pocket a strange anchor amidst the chaos. By the time he reached their apartment in the Castro, Ethan was already setting the table, his easy smile a stark contrast to Ryan's storm. Ethan was 28, a freelance graphic designer with a knack for turning chaos into art. His gray sweater hugged his lean frame, and his blonde hair fell messily over his forehead as he lit a candle. "Rough day?" Ethan asked, catching the strain in Ryan's eyes. Ryan wanted to lie, to protect the warmth of this moment, but the truth spilled out. "They fired me, Ethan, because of us. Because of that damn photo." His voice broke, and he sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. Ethan knelt beside him, pulling him close, his touch a lifeline. "They don't deserve you," Ethan whispered fiercely. "We'll figure this out together." But Ryan wasn't so sure. The job had been his identity, his proof that he could rise above the small-town prejudice he'd fled in Ohio. Growing up, he'd hidden his truth, swallowing slurs and sidelong glances to survive. Pinnacle had been his escape, his chance to be someone. Now, at 29, he was back to square one, and the fear of losing Ethan, of dragging him down too, gnawed at him. That night, after Ethan fell asleep, Ryan sat on their balcony, the city's hum a distant lullaby. He pulled out Mia's gift box, its red ribbon glinting under the streetlights. Inside was a folded note and a small, silver key. The note, in Mia's neat handwriting, read, "You're more than your job, Ryan." This key unlocks a door to something new. Find the address on the back. Ryan flipped the note. An address in Oakland. No explanation. His pulse quickened. Was this a joke, a pity gesture, or something else entirely? He glanced at Ethan's sleeping form through the glass door, his heart aching with love and uncertainty. Whatever this key led to, it was a spark in the dark, a chance to rewrite the story that had just been torn apart. The Oakland address haunted Ryan's thoughts all week. He hadn't told Ethan about the key or Mia's note. Not yet. The shame of his firing still clung to him, a bruise he couldn't shake. Ethan, ever the optimist, filled their apartment with sketches for a new project, his laughter a temporary balm. But Ryan's nights were sleepless, his mind replaying the email, the whispers, the weight of being judged for loving someone. On Saturday, with Ethan at a client meeting, Ryan borrowed their beat-up Honda and drove across the Bay Bridge. Oakland streets were a mix of gritty charm and vibrant murals, a world away from Pinnacle's sterile offices. The address led to a small, unassuming building with a faded sign, Horizon Community Center. The silver key fit perfectly in the front door's lock, clicking open with a soft thud. Inside, the air smelled of coffee and old books. The center was alive with voices, kids laughing in a back room, a group of teens painting a mural, an older man strumming a guitar, a woman in her 40s, with a buzz cut and a warm smile, approached. "You must be Ryan," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Lena. Mia told me you'd come." Ryan blinked, caught off guard. "Mia? How did she—" "She's my cousin," Lena said, her eyes crinkling. "She's been volunteering here for years. Said you were one of the good ones, and you'd need a place to land after, well, you know." Lena gestured to a cluttered office. "This place is a haven for folks like us, queer, marginalized, anyone who needs a second chance. That key, it's to this center." Mia thought you'd fit right in. Ryan's throat tightened. He'd expected a storage unit, a forgotten apartment, anything but this, a community hub pulsing with life. Lena handed him a flyer for Horizon's annual fundraiser, a gala to keep the center's programs running. "We need someone with your skills," she said. "Marketing, event planning." Mia said you're a pro. Interested, he hesitated. His career at Pinnacle had been about selling luxury cars and tech gadgets, not saving community centers. But the energy here, the kids' laughter, the mural's bold colors, stirred something in him. "I'll think about it," he said, pocketing the flyer. Back home, Ethan noticed a shift in Ryan's mood. "You're hiding something," he teased, nudging Ryan's shoulder. Over dinner, Ryan spilled everything: the key, the center, Lena's offer. Ethan's eyes lit up. "This could be your thing, not just a job, but something real. Something that matters." Ryan wanted to believe him, but doubt lingered. Could he trade corporate success for a scrappy nonprofit? And what about the gala? He'd organized glitzy events before, but this felt different, personal. That night, he dreamed of the center, of faces he didn't yet know, all looking to him for something he wasn't sure he could give. The next day, Ryan returned to Horizon, the key heavy in his pocket. Lena showed him around, a youth mentorship program, art classes, a support group for queer elders. Every room buzzed with purpose, but Lena's voice turned serious as she explained their funding crisis. "If we don't nail this gala, we might lose this place," she said. "No pressure, but we could use you." Ryan's mind raced. He saw himself and the kids painting murals, and the elders sharing stories, people who, like him, had faced rejection for being themselves. For the first time since the firing, he felt a spark of purpose. "I'm in," he said, the word surprising even himself. As he drove home, the Bay Bridge's lights stretched like a promise. He thought of Ethan, of their shared dreams, and of the gift box that had led him here. Maybe this wasn't just a new job. It was a chance to build something unbreakable, something Pinnacle could never take away. Ryan threw himself into the gala with a ferocity he hadn't felt in years. Horizon's tiny office became his war room, walls plastered with sticky notes and sponsor lists. Lena was a whirlwind, juggling volunteers and budgets, while Ryan crafted a vision, a night of art, music, and stories to showcase the center's impact. He wanted it to feel like the community it served, vibrant, diverse, unapologetic. Ethan jumped in too, designing stunning posters and a logo that captured Horizon's spirit, a rising sun over a rainbow horizon. "This is us," Ethan said, taping a mock-up to the wall. "It's you." Ryan kissed him, grateful for his unshakable belief. But the pressure was mounting. The gala was 6 weeks away, and they were short on funds, sponsors, and time. One afternoon, Ryan met with a potential donor, a tech mogul named Clara Voss. Her office in Silicon Valley was all glass and steel, a reminder of the world he'd lost. Clara, sharp and no-nonsense, leaned back in her chair. "Why should I fund your little center?" she asked. "What makes it special?" Ryan took a breath, thinking of the kids who'd found safety at Horizon, the elders who'd found family. "It's a place where people like me, people who've been told they don't belong, find a home," he said. "I lost my job for being gay. Horizon gave me a purpose again. It's not just a center, it's a lifeline." Clara's expression softened, but she didn't commit. "Send me a proposal," she said. Ryan left feeling exposed, his vulnerability laid bare. Had he overshared? Back at Horizon, Lena clapped him on the shoulder. "You spoke from the heart. That's what sells this place." But not everyone was on board. A local business owner, Tom Hargrove, pulled his sponsorship after learning the gala was too focused on the gay stuff. His email was blunt: "I support community, not agendas." Ryan's stomach churned, the rejection a bitter echo of his firing. Lena, unfazed, ripped the email in half. "His loss," she said. "We don't need bigots." Ryan wasn't so sure. Every rejection felt personal, a reminder of the world's limits. He confided in Ethan that night, his voice low. "What if we fail? What if I fail them?" Ethan cupped his face, his touch steady. "You're not failing. You're fighting. And I'm right here with you." The gala preparations pushed forward, but tension crept into Ryan's life. He and Ethan argued over small things, bills, schedules, the stress of their upended life. One night, Ethan snapped, "You're not the only one carrying this." The word stung, and Ryan retreated to the balcony, the silver key in his pocket a quiet reminder of the unknown door he'd unlocked. The next day, a breakthrough came. Clara Voss pledged $50,000, moved by Ryan's pitch and Ethan's designs. The news electrified Horizon's team, but Ryan felt the weight of expectation. This wasn't just about a gala anymore. It was about proving he could rebuild, not just for himself, but for everyone who called Horizon home. As the gala neared, Ryan found himself at the center, late at night, surrounded by volunteer chaos and Ethan sketches. He traced the logo's rainbow lines, his heart swelling with a fragile hope. This was his fight now, and no matter the outcome, he'd pour everything into it. The gala was 3 days away, and Horizon buzzed with frenetic energy. Ryan coordinated caterers, musicians, and a drag queen MC named Sapphire, whose charisma could light up the Bay Area. Ethan's posters lined the streets, drawing curious crowds. But beneath the excitement, Ryan felt a gnawing dread. What if they didn't raise enough? What if the center closed, leaving its community adrift? A new blow came when a conservative local group, calling themselves Family First, announced a protest outside the gala. Their online posts were venomous, accusing Horizon of promoting deviance. Ryan's old wounds flared, memories of his Ohio hometown, where slurs were casual and acceptance was a fantasy. He wanted to fight back, but Lena urged caution. "Let them shout," she said. "Our work speaks louder." Ethan, however, wasn't so restrained. He spent hours crafting a social media campaign, flooding X with stories of Horizon's impact, a teen who'd found courage to come out, an elder who'd found community after decades of isolation. "We're not hiding," Ethan told Ryan, his eyes blazing. "They want to fight? We'll give them one, with love." Ryan admired Ethan's fire but worried it would backfire. The protest was gaining traction, and sponsors were getting skittish. One night, unable to sleep, Ryan scrolled through X, where Save Horizon trended alongside hateful comments. He felt torn between rage and despair, the weight of his firing and the gala's stakes crushing him. Mia visited the center the next day, her first time since the gift box. She hugged Ryan tightly. "I knew you'd find your way here," she said. "This place, it's where you were always meant to be." Her words stirred something in Ryan, a flicker of the confidence he'd lost. He showed her the gala plans, and she grinned. "You're building something bigger than Pinnacle ever was." The day of the gala arrived, a crisp San Francisco evening. The venue, a converted warehouse, glowed with fairy lights and Ethan's art. Sapphire strutted in a sequin gown, hyping the crowd of donors, volunteers, and community members. Ryan, in a sharp navy suit, stood backstage, his heart pounding. Outside, the protesters chanted, their signs ugly but distant. Lena took the stage, her voice steady as she shared Horizon's mission. Then it was Ryan's turn. He stepped into the spotlight, the crowd a sea of expectant faces. "I lost my job for being who I am," he began, his voice raw. "But Horizon gave me a new purpose. This isn't just a center. It's a family for anyone who's ever felt they don't belong." The room erupted in applause, and Ryan's eyes found Ethan's in the crowd, his smile a beacon. The night unfolded like a dream. Sapphire's performance, a youth choir, stories from Horizon's members. Even Clara Voss, usually stoic, wiped away a tear. But as the auction began, raising funds for the center, Ryan noticed a commotion outside. The protesters were growing louder, their chants seeping through the walls. Ethan grabbed his hand. Ignore them. Look at what we've built. Ryan nodded. But the noise was a reminder of the world's cruelty. A world he and Ethan had to navigate together. As the gala hit its peak, Ryan felt a shift, not just in the room, but in himself. He wasn't just fighting for Horizon. He was fighting for the life he wanted, unapologetically. The gala was a triumph, raising enough to keep Horizon running for another year. Donors pledged beyond expectations, moved by the stories and Sapphire's electric energy. Even the protesters outside dwindled, their chants no match for the love inside. Ryan felt a rush of pride, but it was tempered by exhaustion. He'd poured everything into this night, and the weight of it lingered. Backstage, Ethan pulled him into a hug, his voice soft. You did it, Ree. You saved this place. Ryan shook his head. We did it. I couldn't have without you. They kissed. A quiet moment amidst the chaos. And Ryan felt the truth of it. Ethan was his anchor, his reason to keep going. But the victory was short-lived. The next morning, Ryan woke to a flood of emails and X-posts. A local news outlet had run a hit piece, calling the gala divisive and digging up Ryan's firing for Pinnacle. The article twisted his story, painting him as a disgruntled employee pushing a radical agenda. Comments online were brutal, some even targeting Ethan's designs. Ryan's anger boiled over. He wanted to fight back, to scream that he'd only ever wanted to love and live freely. But Ethan, ever steady, urged him to focus on Horizon. They're trying to tear us down, he said. Don't let them win. Lena agreed, calling an emergency meeting to plan damage control. The center's board was nervous, worried the backlash could scare off future donors. Ryan felt the old shame creeping back, the fear that he'd brought this on Horizon. He confided in Lena, his voice low. What if I'm not the right person for this? What if I'm just trouble? Lena fixed him with a fierce stare. You're exactly who we need. You've lived this fight. That's why you'll keep going. Inspired, Ryan and Ethan launched a counter-campaign. They shared stories on X, not just of Horizon's work, but of their own journey, Ryan's firing, their love, their resilience. The posts went viral, with Save Horizon trending again, this time with messages of support pouring in from across the country. Strangers shared their own stories of loss and triumph, creating a digital tapestry of solidarity. One evening, as Ryan and Ethan scrolled through the responses, a message caught Ryan's eye. It was from a teenager named Kai, a Horizon regular, who'd attended the gala. Thank you for showing me I can be myself, Kai wrote. I came out to my parents because of you. Ryan's eyes stung. This was why he'd fought, not just for himself, but for kids like Kai, who deserved a world that didn't punish them for who they were. The backlash didn't vanish, but lost its sting. Clara Voss called, pledging another donation. You've got guts, she said. Keep fighting. Ryan felt a fire reignite. Horizon wasn't just a job. It was his calling, a chance to build a legacy of love and acceptance. As the week ended, Ryan and Ethan sat on their balcony, the city's lights stretching before them. Ryan held the silver key, its weight now familiar. This key, he said, it didn't just open a door. It opened us. Ethan smiled, leaning into him. To new beginnings, he said, and they clinked their wine glasses. The future uncertain, but theirs to shape. Months passed, and Horizon thrived. Ryan took on a permanent role as the center's marketing director, his days filled with purpose. He mentored Kai, the teenager from the gala, helping him navigate his own coming-out journey. Ethan's designs became Horizon's brand, his art a beacon for the community. Together, they were building something bigger than themselves, a safe haven for anyone who needed it. But the past wasn't done with Ryan. One morning, an email arrived from Pinnacle's HR department. A lawsuit had been filed against them for wrongful termination, spurred by Ryan's story going viral. A lawyer, pro bono, offered to represent him. Ryan hesitated. Reliving the firing felt like reopening a wound, but Ethan urged him forward. "You're not just fighting for you," he said. "You're fighting for everyone who's been silenced." The lawsuit gained traction, with former colleagues coming forward, admitting Pinnacle's unprofessional conduct. Excuse was a thinly veiled attack on Ryan's identity. Mia, who'd left Pinnacle after Ryan's firing, testified about the company's toxic culture. The case became a rallying cry, trending on X with justice for Ryan. As the trial loomed, Ryan and Ethan faced new challenges. The media scrutiny was relentless, and Ryan's old fears of being too visible, too vulnerable, resurfaced. One night, he broke down, confessing to Ethan, "I'm scared we'll lose everything again." Ethan held him, his voice steady. "We've already won. We have each other. We have Horizon. The rest is just noise." The trial was grueling, but Ryan's testimony was a turning point. He spoke of his decade at Pinnacle, his love for Ethan, the pain of being discarded. "I wasn't fired for my work," he said, his voice clear. "I was fired for who I am. And I'm done apologizing for that." The courtroom was silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Weeks later, the verdict came. Pinnacle was found liable, ordered to pay damages and issue a public apology. Ryan didn't care about the money. The apology, plastered across news outlets, was the real victory. It was a message to the world: love wasn't a liability. On the anniversary of the gala, Horizon hosted a celebration. The warehouse was packed, Sapphire back as MC, her sequins dazzling under the lights. Ryan and Ethan stood hand in hand, watching Kai perform a spoken-word piece about his journey. Lena raised a glass, toasting to family, resilience, and new beginnings. Later, on their balcony, Ryan pulled out the silver key, now worn from months of carrying it. "This little thing changed everything," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Ethan kissed him, the city's hum wrapping around them. "No," Ethan said. "You changed everything. The key just showed you the way." Ryan looked out at San Francisco, its lights a constellation of possibilities. He lost a job, but he gained a purpose, a community, a love that no one could take away. The gift box had held more than a key. It had held a new life, one he and Ethan would build together, unapologetically, for as long as they had.